Welcome to Headline News. This is Maria Han. American, French, German, and British foreign ministers meeting addressed CCP challenges. U.S. Secretary of State and the foreign ministers of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom held an online meeting on the 18th, which was followed by a joint statement reaffirming the centrality of the transatlantic partnership in addressing security, climate, economic, health, and other challenges the world faces. In addition to discussing Iran, the four foreign ministers agreed to coordinate closely to address the global challenges posed by the Chinese Communist Party. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, U.S. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab, French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian, and German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas joined this ministerial meeting. On January 27th, Blinken spoke separately with Raab and Maas, and they agreed to work closely on the issue of the Chinese Communist Party and to find ways to hold it to its international commitments. The statement reads that in addition to discussing Iran, the four foreign ministers also agreed to, quote, closely coordinate to address the global challenges posed by China, as well as the need for cooperation across a range of issues, including climate change. However, it did not yet include specific challenges and ways to coordinate. The day before, February 17th, during a virtual NATO Defense Ministerial meeting, U.S. Defense Secretary Austin welcomed recognition by NATO allies that CCP's increasing influence and international policies represent challenges to transatlantic security and looks forward to working together to address these challenges. On climate change, a joint statement by the four foreign ministers said, quote, they agreed to work with urgency to address the climate crisis ahead of the 26th UN Framework Convention on Climate Change Conference of the parties in Glasgow in November. They agreed that significant collective action was needed to implement the Paris Agreement. On his first day in office, President Joe Biden signed an executive order announcing that the United States would return to the Paris Agreement and reversed former President Trump's decision to withdraw from the World Health Organization. Trump announced on June 1, 2017, that the U.S. would withdraw from the 2015 Paris Agreement. During his 2020 presidential campaign, Trump said climate change is a hoax invented by the Chinese Communist Party and has severely undermined the U.S. economy. Trump stressed at the time that he would want to negotiate to rejoin the Paris Agreement or join an entirely new deal provided that it was beneficial to the United States and its business, labor, people, and taxpayers. In addition, when the CCP virus epidemic intensified globally in 2020, Trump criticized the World Health Organization for being influenced by the Chinese Communist Party, helping the CCP to cover up the epidemic, and failure to stop the spread of the outbreak in time. Therefore, on July 6 last year, the Trump administration announced that it would withdraw from the WHO and would no longer provide a large amount of funding to assist the WHO. However, it will not officially take effect until July 6, 2021, when the full year is over. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced on February 17th that the United States would pay more than $200 million to the WHO by the end of February, following President Joe Biden's reversal of a Trump-era decision to exit the organization. The United States has been the largest financial supporter of the WHO. Nearly 40 U.S. lawmakers introduced proposal to restore Taiwan as a WHO observer. Nearly 40 members of the Congress reintroduced a bipartisan bill on Thursday, February 18th. The bill was aimed at directing the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to develop a strategy to help Taiwan become an observer at the World Health Organization. Taiwan welcomed this bill. The bill was entitled, to direct the Secretary of State to develop a strategy to regain observer status for Taiwan in the World Health Organization and for other purposes. It was introduced by Reps Young Kim and Brad Sherman and joined by House Foreign Affairs Committee Lead Republican Michael McCaul and Chair Gregory Meeks, as well as House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Asia Lead Republican Steve Chabot and Chair Amy Barra, along with over 30 other bipartisan co-sponsors. The bill recognized Taiwan as a role model for public health worldwide for containing the spread of the pandemic. It also mentioned that Taiwan generously provided financial and technical assistance to other countries in response to the outbreak. The bill stated, "These diseases know no borders, and Taiwan's needless exclusion from global health cooperation increases the dangers presented by global pandemics." The bill also required the U.S. Secretary of State to report annually to the Congress on efforts to regain observer status for Taiwan at the World Health Agency. The bill cited Taiwan's contributions to global health challenges, including Taiwan's funding of over $6 billion in international medical and humanitarian aid since 1996, which benefited more than 80 countries. In 2014, Taiwan donated $1 million to fight the Ebola crisis in Africa. In 2020, Taiwan also donated millions of pieces of personal protective equipment and testing reagents based on its own successful fight against the CCP virus outbreak. In response, Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs thanked members of the U.S. Congress for their continual and concrete support of Taiwan's participation in the WHO. The ministry stressed Taiwan's excellent anti-epidemic prevention efforts and Taiwan's contribution to the global public health community have been recognized around the world. These are evidence to the indispensable position of Taiwan in the international healthcare system. Therefore, Taiwan's government would continue to push for rejoining observer status in the WHO and WHA. Taiwan also said that they will closely monitor the follow-up progress of the bill and actively seek to return to the 2021 WHO conference as an observer. Similar bills have been introduced by Congress members before in January 2019 and May 2020, but were ultimately shelved for various reasons. Taiwan had joined the WHA as an observer in 2009, but since President Tsai Ing-wen took office in 2016, the WHO has unanimously not issued another invitation to Taiwan under the suppression of the Chinese Communist Party. On February 17th, Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced that the United States would give the WHO more than $200 million in membership fees by the end of February. In response, Senator Rick Scott tweeted, "U.S. taxpayers should not be responsible for propping up the WHO, which has spread Communist China's COVID-19 propaganda. This is why we must pass my WHO Accountability Act. The WHO needs new leadership, recognition of Taiwan, and serious reforms before we spend another dime." New variants of virus discovered in Japan and Finland. The new variants of the CCP virus, novel coronavirus, recently found in Japan and Finland are different from the existing UK, South African, and Brazilian variant strains. The Japanese new variant is not as infectious as the known variants, but may reduce the effectiveness of vaccine immunization. The Finnish new variant may not be able to be identified by PCR nucleic acid testing. The National Institute of Infectious Diseases announced on February 18th that a new CCP virus variant had been discovered, with a mutation of the protein named E484K on the surface of the virus. As of February 2nd, 2 cases were found in quarantine at airports in Japan, and 91 cases of confirmed infection with the new mutant virus were found in the Kanto region. The Institute of Infectious Diseases believes that the new mutant virus was introduced from abroad, but it is not possible to confirm the country from which it was introduced. In addition, Tokyo Medical and Dental University also announced the discovery of 3 cases of confirmed infection with the E484K mutant virus. All 3 cases have no history of travel abroad and are asymptomatic or involve mild illness. The E484 mutation was also found on the South African and Brazilian variants. This variant is thought to allow the virus to evade the immune system and may reduce the effectiveness of vaccination. However, the 3 mutated virus strains in the UK, South Africa, and Brazil were found to have a mutation N501Y in the viral surface protein, which may make the virus more infectious. The new mutated virus found in Japan only has the E484K mutation and not the N501Y mutation. In addition, the University of Helsinki and the local Vita laboratories announced on the 17th that a new variant of the virus has been discovered in southern Finland. This variant, the Fin 796H, exhibits some of the same mutations as the UK and South African variants, but is a unique hybrid of the two and may not be effectively screened by polymerase chain reaction PCR testing, and its infectivity and possible resistance to vaccines are not known. Taru Meri, a researcher in the Vita laboratories, said it is unlikely that the mutant virus evolved in Finland because of the relatively low infection rate in the country. Petri Avunen, research director of the University of Helsinki's Institute of Biotechnology, said it was only a matter of time before new variants of the virus are discovered. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.